my girlfriend humiliated me at dinner, telling everyone. He's basically broke and clueless. So I pulled up the receipts and her face dropped when she realized I'd been covering her whole life. Alright Reddit, buckle up because this story is going to make your blood boil before it gets satisfying. This happened 2 months ago, and I'm still processing how someone can be this delusional. My buddy told me I needed to share this here because apparently it's peak Reddit material. Here we go. I'm 29, work in a shipping company based out of North Carolina. Not the most glamorous job, but it pays well. Really well, actually. I handle route optimization and vendor contracts. I clear about $140,000 a year, own my condo outright, and drive a 2019 4Runner that I bought cash after my last promotion. The 4Runner was a reward to myself after landing this job 3 years back. Magnetic gray metallic with the off-road premium package. Added a roof rack and all-weather floor mats. That thing is my baby. I'm not flashy with money. Grew up watching my parents stress about every bill, so when I started making good money, I promised myself I'd be smart about it. Maxed out my 401k, got a financial advisor, started an index fund portfolio. My condo is in a solid neighborhood, 2 bedrooms, nice kitchen, decent view. Furnished it properly over time with actual quality stuff instead of particle board garbage. My place became my pride. Spent months finding the right couch. Had to be leather, comfortable, built to last. Got this sectional from a furniture outlet going out of business. Talked them down to half price because I paid cash. Same with the dining table, the bed frame, everything. After a couple failed relationships where girls either wanted me to bankroll their lifestyle or got weird about me having money saved up, I basically wrote off dating for a while. Focused on work, hit the gym, got into mountain biking. Life was simple. Then I met Brittany in March of last year at a charity auction my company sponsored. She was there with her friend who worked in event planning. Dark hair, great smile, worked as a receptionist at a dental office downtown. We talked for maybe 20 minutes about random stuff. She seemed down to earth, laughed at my jokes, didn't immediately ask what I did for a living. Felt refreshing. The charity auction was this big annual thing my company does, where we donate items for a children's hospital fundraiser. I'd volunteered to help set up because it meant leaving work early. And honestly, the cause mattered. Brittany was helping her friend arrange the silent auction tables when I was hauling in donated gift baskets. She made some joke about me looking like I actually knew how to carry heavy things properly, which made me laugh. Most girls I met barely acknowledged physical work as a real skill. We exchanged numbers that night and started texting. Normal stuff at first. Memes, random thoughts, weekend plans. She seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me as a person, rather than sizing up my bank account. First date was mini golf and burgers, super casual. She insisted on splitting the check, which I thought was classy. Second date was hiking. Third date I took her to this Italian place, and she actually ordered real food instead of just a salad. The Italian place became our spot. Little family-owned joint run by this couple from Naples. Real red sauce, fresh pasta made daily. Brittany would order the chicken marsala every time. By date 5, I was thinking this might actually go somewhere. She had her own apartment, her own car, seemed independent, talked about wanting to advance at the dental office eventually, maybe become an office manager. Had goals. That mattered to me because I dated too many women who just drifted through life expecting someone else to provide direction. Her apartment was this studio in an older building about 15 minutes from downtown. Nothing fancy, but she decorated it nice. Plants everywhere. Art on the walls. Actually used coasters. Rent was $1,100 a month, which she mentioned was stretching her budget, but she loved the location. The building was one of those 1960s constructions that hadn't been updated much. But her unit had hardwood floors, and she'd painted the walls this soft gray. Had real dishes instead of paper plates. The kind of details that suggested she had her life together despite the tight budget. We started dating officially in May. The relationship moved pretty naturally. Couple times a week turned into most nights, then basically living together by July. She'd stay at my place more often than hers because, well, my place was bigger and nicer. Had central air, a real kitchen, space to actually spread out. Made sense. Here's where things get interesting. Brittany made about $38,000 a year at the dental office. Not terrible, but not exactly rolling in it either. Especially in our city where cost of living kept climbing. Her car was this 2011 Honda Civic with 160,000 miles that needed something fixed every other month. I noticed pretty quick that money was tight for her. That Civic was held together by hope and duct tape, honestly. Check engine light had been on so long she'd put a piece of electrical tape over it. Driver's side window only went down 3/4 of the way. AC worked half the time. She'd joke about it being her reliable old friend, but I could tell the constant repairs stressed her out. Every time something broke, it was this whole calculation of whether she could afford to fix it or just live with whatever was wrong. At first, it was small stuff. Her car broke down and needed a $600 repair she didn't have sitting around. I offered to cover it because we were dating, and it felt like the right thing to do. She was grateful, said she'd pay me back. I told her not to worry about it. Figured it was a one-time thing. Then her student loan payment jumped up when her income-based repayment got recalculated. She was stressed about making rent that month. I quietly transferred her $800 and told her she could get me back whenever. Again, she thanked me profusely. Again, I said no rush. The student loans were apparently from her associate degree in dental assisting, before she switched to just being a receptionist. She'd racked up about $35,000 in debt for a 2-year program, which seemed insane to me, but that's the system, I guess. Her monthly payments had been $220 on the income-based plan, but when they recalculated based on her slightly higher salary after a small raise, it jumped to $380. That extra $160 was the difference between making rent and not making rent in her budget. Her credit card got declined at dinner one night, and she was mortified. I paid and later sent her $500 to cover whatever was going on. She explained she'd had some unexpected expenses and maxed out her card. I told her I understood. Stuff happens. See, this became a pattern I didn't fully recognize at first because it ramped up so gradually. Every few weeks there was something. Her insurance went up. Her phone bill was higher than expected. She needed new work clothes because the dress code changed. Her brother needed help with something, and she felt obligated. Emergency vet bill for her cat. On and on. The vet bill was $890 for her cat Luna, who apparently ate something toxic and needed emergency treatment. Brittany was literally in tears at the animal hospital because she didn't have her credit card with available balance, and they wouldn't do payment plans for the full amount. I drove over there at 11 p.m. and handed them my card without even thinking about it. Her cat was fine. She was grateful. I felt good about helping. Didn't occur to me to add it to some mental ledger. And every single time, I helped. Not because she demanded it or even really asked directly most of the time. She'd mention the problem and I'd offer a solution. Felt good to be able to help someone I cared about. Felt good to not stress about money the way my parents had. What's the point of having money if you can't make life easier for people you love, right? Except here's the thing I was too stupid to see at the time. She never paid me back. Not once. And after the first few times, she stopped even mentioning paying me back. It just became assumed that I'd handle whatever financial crisis popped up. By September, Brittany had basically moved into my place full time. Still kept her apartment for appearance sake and stored some stuff there, but she was with me every single night, which meant I was covering groceries, utilities, streaming services, internet, everything. My bills went up across the board, but whatever. We were together. That's what couples do. Before Brittany, I'd spend maybe $300 a month on food. Once she moved in, we were hitting $700 to $800 monthly easy. She wanted specific brands, liked trying new recipes that required expensive ingredients. I didn't mind at the time because cooking together was nice, but I was funding 100% of it. I suggested she could cancel her apartment lease to save money, but she got weird about it. Said she wanted to keep her independence. Didn't want to feel like she was mooching. I respected that even though she was literally at her apartment maybe twice a month to grab clothes or check mail. She was paying $1,100 a month for what was basically a storage unit. Here's what I didn't realize until way too late. While I was covering all these expenses and basically funding her life, she was still getting her full paycheck every month. And that money was going somewhere that wasn't bills, because I was handling all the bills. I found out when I was using her laptop to look something up in October and saw she had Facebook open. Not snooping, just literally the page was up. And there were all these posts about her weekend shopping trips with her girlfriends. New clothes from Nordstrom, brunch at trendy spots, nail appointments, hair salon visits, concert tickets, a weekend trip to Charleston she'd mentioned, but downplayed. The Charleston trip got me because she told me it was just crashing with her friend's family, super low-key. But her photos showed a nice hotel overlooking the water, fancy restaurant meals, shopping in the historic district. I recognized the hotel because I'd looked at it for a work conference once. Rooms started at $280 a night. Her budget weekend with friends had clearly cost over $1,000. I didn't say anything at first. Told myself maybe she'd been saving up. Maybe she got a bonus. Maybe her parents helped her out. Made excuses because I didn't want to be that guy who monitors his girlfriend's spending. But it gnawed at me. Then, in November, we went to her friend Kayla's birthday dinner. Kayla was this loud personality who worked in pharmaceutical sales and made decent money. The dinner was at this upscale seafood place downtown, the kind where entrees start at $45 and they make a big deal about their wine pairings. There were about 10 people there. Brittany's friend group that I'd met a few times but never really clicked with. Kayla's boyfriend Josh, who worked in finance and never missed an opportunity to mention it. A couple other girls from their college days with their partners. The whole vibe was very, look how successful and put together we all are. Kayla had reserved the semi-private section of the restaurant with a long table that seated everyone. The decor was all exposed brick and Edison bulbs, the kind of place that tries too hard to be industrial chic. Our server introduced himself and immediately launched into the specials. Chilean sea bass, dayboat scallops, some lobster situation that cost $78. The drinks menu was leather-bound and had separate sections for whiskey flights and craft cocktails. Conversation was the usual surface-level stuff at first. Everyone catching up on jobs, travel plans, random gossip about people I didn't know. I was sitting there making polite small talk with the guy next to me about college football, while Brittany was down at the other end laughing with Kayla and her friends. Then Kayla starts asking everyone to go around and share their biggest wins from the year. Very influencer energy. People are talking about promotions, engagements, buying houses. When it gets to me, I keep it simple. Mention the contract I landed at work that saved the company $2 million annually. Kayla seems impressed, asks what I do. I explain logistics coordination, route optimization. Her eyes kind of glaze over because it's not sexy work, but she's polite about it. Then she turns to Brittany and asks about her year. Brittany starts talking about the dental office, some new software they're using, how she's learning the scheduling system. Pretty boring stuff, but fine. Then Kayla asks her about our relationship, how things are going, if she's happy. And this is where everything fell apart. Brittany laughs and says something like, "Oh yeah, things are good. He's sweet, you know? Takes care of things." Kayla raises her eyebrows. Takes care of things how? I should have seen the setup coming, but I was oblivious. Just sitting there eating my salmon. Brittany gets this weird smile and says, "I mean, he's basically broke and clueless about real money stuff, but he tries hard, so it's cute." The table goes quiet for a second. I literally stop chewing. One of her other friends, Madison, jumps in. "Wait, what? Broke?" Brittany's on a roll now, enjoying the attention. "Yeah, like, he's got this little logistics job that sounds fancy, but it's basically moving boxes around. Lives in a decent condo, but I think his parents helped him buy it. Drives a used SUV. He's comfortable, but not like, really making moves, you know? I have to handle all the actual financial planning in our relationship because he just doesn't get it." I'm sitting there, fork in hand, absolutely stunned. Did she really just say that? Out loud? In front of everyone? Kayla looks uncomfortable now. "Brittany, that seems a little harsh." But Brittany keeps going. "No, I'm just being honest. He's a good guy, great personality, super reliable. But financially, I've had to really guide him. Like, I'm basically managing both our budgets at this point because he'd be lost without someone keeping track of things. I don't mind, though. Someone has to be the adult. Madison's boyfriend leans forward. Wait, you manage his budget? Like his money? Brittany nods. Well, I make sure we're not overspending on stupid stuff. He's one of those guys who'd buy the expensive brand of everything without even checking if there's a sale. No financial awareness at all. This is the point where I'd heard enough. I put down my fork very carefully, took a sip of water, let the silence hang there for a second while everyone looked uncomfortable. Then I pulled out my phone. Actually, Brittany, since we're talking about finances, let me pull up some numbers real quick. Her face immediately changed, went from smug to nervous in about half a second. I opened my banking app and started scrolling. So in March, when your Civic needed that transmission repair, that was $615 I sent you, right? Then April, when your student loan payment jumped, I covered your rent shortfall. That was $800. The table was dead silent now. May was your credit card situation. I sent you $500. June was your insurance and that vet emergency with Luna. Total of $1,290. July, you needed help with your brother's situation. That was $350. August was the new work wardrobe because of the dress code change. I gave you $600 for that. Brittany's face was going red. Babe, can we talk about this later? I ignored her. September was first and last month's rent because you said your landlord was raising your rate. $2,400. Which is interesting because you still have your apartment, so I'm not sure what that money actually went to. October, I covered your car registration and inspection, $280. And just last week, you needed help with your phone upgrade, $450. I did the math out loud. That's $7,285 in direct transfers since March. Not counting the groceries I buy every week that run about $800 a month. So that's another $6,400. Utilities for my place went up about $200 a month since you moved in. So $1,600. Streaming services you wanted me to add, $240. Internet upgrade you said we needed, $360. Kayla's boyfriend Josh had his phone out and was actually calculating. Dude, that's over $15,000 in 8 months. I nodded. And that's just what I can quickly find. Doesn't count dinners, entertainment, gas money, the clothes I bought you, the gifts. Doesn't count that Charleston trip you told me was budget friendly. When I saw the hotel was $280 a night and you went for 3 nights. Doesn't count Nordstrom bags I've seen coming into my place that definitely weren't in your budget if you can't cover a $600 car repair. Brittany was pale now. You're embarrassing me. I laughed, but it wasn't friendly. I'm embarrassing you? You just told a table full of people that I'm broke and clueless. That you have to manage my finances. That I needed my parents to buy my condo. Madison looked at Brittany. Did his parents buy his condo? I answered before Brittany could. Nope. Bought it myself 5 years ago. Paid it off 3 years ago. Completely own it. No mortgage. Josh whistled. In this market? What do you make? $140,000 base salary. Got a $25,000 bonus last year. Another $20,000 this year based on that contract I mentioned. My 401k is maxed out. I've got about $190,000 in index funds. Emergency fund that could cover 2 years of expenses. Oh, and I paid cash for my used SUV that apparently isn't impressive enough. Paid $35,000 for a vehicle that books at $42,000 because I negotiated and waited for the right deal. The whole table was staring at Brittany now. Kayla spoke carefully. So Brittany, when you said you manage the finances, Brittany tried to salvage it. I meant like, I help him make smart decisions about everyday stuff. I pulled up Venmo on my phone. Like when you requested $200 last month because you said you were short on groceries? Except I'd already bought $750 worth of groceries that week. Where'd that money go? She didn't answer. I switched to my bank records. Or when you said you needed $400 for your student loan minimum payment because they'd increased it again? Except I pulled your credit report when we talked about moving in together officially. Your student loan payment is $380 a month. It hasn't changed. So where's the extra money going? Madison's eyes were wide. Brittany, what the heck? I kept going because honestly, 8 months of being used was pouring out now. I track every expense, every transfer, every bill. Because that's what financially clueless people do, right? They maintain detailed spreadsheets and quarterly budget reviews. Pulled up my spreadsheet on my phone and turned it so the people near me could see. I've got 8 months of expenses here. Food, utilities, entertainment, health, transportation, housing, savings, investments, color-coded by category, updated weekly. I know exactly where every dollar goes. Josh was nodding appreciatively. That's some solid financial planning, man. I looked at Brittany directly. So explain to me, with your expert financial management, where your $38,000 annual salary goes when you're not paying rent most months, not buying groceries, not covering utilities, not paying for entertainment, and I'm handing you thousands in emergency money every few weeks? She couldn't. She just sat there looking like she wanted to disappear. One of the other girls, Ashley, who'd been quiet this whole time, said softly, Brittany, you told us he couldn't even afford to take you on vacation, that you had to budget everything. I laughed again. I took 4 weeks of PTO last year. Spent 1 week in Colorado skiing, 1 week in Florida visiting family, used the other 2 for long weekends. Offered to take you to the Colorado trip, but you said you couldn't get time off work. Which was fine, except I saw you took that same week off to go to Charleston with your friends. Brittany stood up. I'm not doing this here. I stayed seated. No, let's do this here. Since you had no problem telling everyone how broke and clueless I am. Let's talk about how you've been using me as your personal ATM while spending your own money on whatever you want. Let's talk about how you've been living rent-free in my place, while keeping an apartment you barely use just so you can claim you're independent. Kayla tried to intervene. Maybe we should all calm down and... I cut her off, still looking at Brittany. I'm perfectly calm. I'm just providing some financial transparency, since apparently that's something I'm too clueless to understand. Your expert financial management has been taking money from someone you claim can't manage money, spending it on yourself, then telling people I'm the problem. Brittany grabbed her purse. I'm leaving. Cool. I'll cancel my card that's on file here so you can't stick me with the bill, since I'm so broke and all. That stopped her. What? I signaled the waiter over. Hey man, can you split the checks? I'll cover mine and anyone else who wants to join me. But my girlfriend will be handling her portion separately. The waiter looked confused but nodded. Brittany's face went white. I don't have, she started. Don't have what? Money? Thought you were the financially savvy one here? Should be no problem, right? Madison pulled out her card. I'll cover Brittany's portion. This is uncomfortable. I shrugged. Your money. But just so everyone knows, I've financially supported this person for 8 months, while she told people I was broke and needed her guidance. I'm done being the joke. Brittany left. Just turned and walked out. Her friends scrambled to figure out the bill situation while I paid my portion, and left a generous tip because the server didn't deserve to get stiffed for relationship drama. Josh stopped me on the way out. Hey man, for what it's worth, that was handled pretty professionally given the situation. Most guys would have blown up. I appreciated that. But honestly, I wasn't angry in a yelling way. I was angry in a, I'm making spreadsheets of every penny you owe me way, which is apparently more terrifying. Drove home alone. Got to my place, and all of Brittany's stuff was still there. Her clothes in my closet, her toiletries in my bathroom, her snacks in my pantry, her cat's food bowls in my kitchen. Evidence everywhere of how she'd inserted herself into my life. I spent the next 3 hours packing everything of hers into boxes and bags. Carefully. Neatly. Because that's how I do things. Every item of clothing, every makeup product, every book and phone charger and hair tie. Everything. The cat food situation annoyed me because I'd bought this fancy grain-free stuff she insisted Luna needed. $65 for a bag that would last a month. I'd bought 3 bags over time. Packed all of it. Found her spare key to my place and put that in a box too. Her spare toothbrush, her contact lens solution, her heating pad she'd left by the couch. Everything. By 2 a.m. I had 14 boxes and bags packed. Loaded them all into my 4Runner. Drove to her apartment and left everything neatly stacked by her door with a note. Since you're so good at managing finances, you can managing your own stuff now. Don't contact me. Drove home. Changed my locks first thing the next morning, because I'm not stupid. Cost me $180 to get a locksmith out on Sunday, but worth it for peace of mind. Brittany started texting around noon. First it was apologies. I'm so sorry, I was just trying to be funny, it came out wrong. Then it was excuses. I was nervous and said stupid things. Then it was deflection. You embarrassed me in front of my friends. I sent one text back. You told people I was broke and clueless while I was supporting you financially. There's nothing to discuss. She called. I declined. She called again. Declined. Sent a text saying if she contacted me again, I'd send her an itemized invoice for the money she owed me and take her to small claims court if necessary. That shut her up for about a day. Then her friends started messaging. Madison apologized for how things went down. Ashley said Brittany was going through something, and I should consider being understanding. Kayla sent a long message about how relationships are complicated and maybe we both made mistakes. I didn't respond to any of them. Not my circus anymore. What I did do was pull all my financial records and create a comprehensive spreadsheet of every penny I'd given Brittany or spent on her. Direct transfers, groceries, utilities, entertainment, everything. Came out to $18,347.82 over 8 months. $18,000 on someone who told people I was broke. I sent the spreadsheet to my financial advisor just to get his take on how stupid I'd been. He called me immediately. This is financial abuse. She was using you as a bank while telling people you had no money? That's textbook manipulation. That hit different hearing it from someone objective. My advisor helped me draft a formal letter requesting repayment. Sent it certified mail to Brittany's apartment. Laid out every expense, every transfer, every receipt. Gave her 30 days to respond with a payment plan, or I'd file in small claims court. Her response came 2 weeks later through a lawyer letter. Basically said all money given was gifts. There was no written agreement for repayment. She had no legal obligation to return anything. The lawyer also mentioned that publicly humiliating her at dinner could be considered defamation, and I should cease all contact and harassment. I laughed out loud reading that. Forwarded it to my own lawyer, who I'd already consulted because I'm not actually clueless about this stuff. My lawyer sent back a response pointing out that 1. Several texts from Brittany explicitly mentioned paying me back, which established debt not gifts. 2. Truth is an absolute defense to defamation, and everything I'd said at dinner was factually accurate with bank records to prove it. 3. One certified letter doesn't constitute harassment. 4. We'd be happy to present all evidence in small claims court. Never heard from her lawyer again. The small claims filing went through in December. Court date set for January. I showed up with a binder full of bank statements, text message screenshots, Venmo records, credit card statements, and my beautiful spreadsheet with everything color-coded and annotated. The binder was organized like a work presentation because that's how my brain works. Tabs for each category of expense. Chronological order within each section. Highlighted relevant portions. Even included a table of contents and an executive summary on the first page. My lawyer saw it and said most people show up to small claims with crumpled receipts in a grocery bag. I showed up like I was presenting to the board of directors. Brittany showed up with her friend Madison for moral support and no documentation whatsoever. She was wearing what looked like a new outfit, black pants and a blazer that still had the sizing sticker on the sleeve that she'd missed. Probably tried to look professional but just looked unprepared. The judge asked her to explain why she believed the money was gifts rather than loans. She gave this rambling story about how we were in a relationship and partners help each other. And I never explicitly said I wanted the money back. Kept saying things like, he offered, and I didn't ask for it, without acknowledging that she'd absolutely created situations where offering was the only reasonable response. I pulled out the text screenshots where she'd said things like, "I'll pay you back as soon as I can, and thank you for covering this. I promise I'm good for it." Had them printed out, dated, highlighted. Submitted them as exhibits A through M because there were 13 separate instances of her explicitly acknowledging the money was a loan. Judge asked if she had any record of attempting to pay me back. She said she'd been planning to, but hadn't gotten around to it. The judge asked how long she'd been planning. She didn't have an answer that made sense. Judge asked about her financial situation. She claimed she was barely getting by, living paycheck to paycheck, couldn't afford to pay anything back. Said her salary barely covered her basic expenses, and she had student loans and other debts. I pulled out screenshots of her social media showing expensive brunches, shopping trips, concert tickets, and the Charleston vacation. Had them organized by date with price estimates based on visible receipts or known costs of the venues. Submitted credit card statements I'd pulled during our relationship when we discussed finances that showed she'd been spending thousands monthly on non-essentials. The credit card statements were from when she'd asked me to help her organize her finances back in July, which meant I'd seen her full spending history at that point. The judge took about 3 minutes reviewing everything, looked at Brittany over her reading glasses and said something like, "Ma'am, you have text messages admitting debt. You have evidence of discretionary spending well beyond someone who's struggling, and you provided no documentation supporting your claims. This is pretty straightforward." Judge was not impressed. Ruled in my favor for $12,500. The direct transfers I could prove with clear text evidence of her acknowledging debt. Didn't include groceries or utilities, since those could be argued as shared relationship expenses. Set up a payment plan of $500 monthly for 25 months. Brittany looked like she was going to cry. Asked the judge if there was any way to reduce the amount or the monthly payment. Judge said, "You spent the money. You acknowledged it was a loan. You have a job. You'll figure it out." Next case. Walking out of that courthouse felt better than any victory I'd had in years. Not because of the money. Honestly, even getting $12,500 back was better than I expected. But because someone in authority had looked at the situation and said, "Yeah, you got used, and that's not okay." Madison caught up with me in the parking lot. "She really didn't think you'd go through with court." I stopped. She told a room full of people I was broke and stupid while I was funding her lifestyle. What did she think would happen? Madison nodded slowly. "For what it's worth, we all told her she was out of line. After you left, Ashley pulled up your company's website and saw you're listed as a senior coordinator. Kayla's boyfriend said your financial setup was better than most people he sees in finance. We all felt terrible." "Good," I said. "Not mean, just factual. Are you seeing anyone now?" Madison asked, which was a weird question. I looked at her. "Why?" She shrugged. "Just wondering if you're doing okay." "I'm doing great, actually. Got a dog last month. German Shepherd named Gunner. He doesn't pretend I'm broke while stealing my money, so he's already a better roommate." That got a small laugh out of her. "I'm glad you're okay. Here's the thing about that whole situation. It wasn't really about the money, even though 18 grand is nothing to sneeze at. It was about respect, about recognizing when someone sees you as a resource rather than a person. Brittany didn't love me. She loved what I could provide while maintaining the image that she was the capable one. She needed me to be less successful than her in the story she told people, even though reality was the complete opposite. That's not a partner. That's a parasite." The $500 monthly payment started coming in February. Direct deposit, always on time, zero communication attached. Just money appearing in my account like clockwork. I put every payment into my investment account. Figured if she was going to pay me back for 2 years, least I could do was make that money work. Gunner's been the best decision I made post-Brittany. Got him from a breeder who specialized in working line German Shepherds. 8 weeks old when I brought him home. Already showing signs of being smart as hell. We do training every morning before work, long walks every evening. Having something that depends on me but actually appreciates what I do? Completely different energy. The condo feels more like mine again. I rearranged furniture, got rid of some stuff that reminded me of her, upgraded my home office setup. Bought a really nice espresso machine because I like good coffee and can afford nice things. Started meal prepping again and got my grocery bill back down to reasonable levels. Work's been solid too. Landed another major contract in February that's going to add about $30,000 to my bonus structure this year. Boss mentioned promotion potential if I keep performing at this level. Funny how much easier it is to focus on career growth when you're not being drained financially and emotionally by someone who claims you can't manage money. I did run into Brittany once at a Target in March. She was with some new guy, holding hands in the household goods aisle. The dude was wearing a Rolex and driving what looked like a BMW based on the keys in his hand. She saw me, went pale, and immediately steered him the other direction. Didn't bother me at all. Actually felt bad for him if I'm honest. Wondered how long before she started telling people he was struggling financially while she managed everything. The friend group drama apparently continued without me. Madison told me through occasional texts that Brittany had effectively been iced out after the truth came out. Ashley felt betrayed because Brittany had apparently borrowed money from her too, with similar sob stories. Kayla was mad because the birthday dinner became this whole dramatic thing. The women who weren't at the dinner heard what happened and took sides. I stayed out of all of it. Wasn't my business anymore. I'd said my piece, got my judgment, moved on. What's wild is how many people have reached out since all this went down. Friends of friends who heard the story and wanted to share their own experiences of being financially used in relationships. Apparently, it's way more common than I realized. People who funded their partner's lifestyle while being told they weren't good enough. People who got dumped after paying off their partner's debt. People who discovered their significant other was using them while secretly building their own nest egg. The $500 monthly payments started coming in February. Direct deposit, always on time, zero communication attached. Just money appearing in my account like clockwork. I put every payment into my investment account. Figured if she was going to pay me back for 2 years, least I could do was make that money work. Gunner's been the best decision I made post-Brittany. Got him from a breeder who specialized in working line German Shepherds. 8 weeks old when I brought him home, already showing signs of being smart as hell. We do training every morning before work, long walks every evening. The condo feels like mine again, instead of some shared space I was funding solo. Work's been solid too. Landed another major contract in February that's going to add about $30,000 to my bonus structure this year. Boss mentioned promotion potential if I keep performing at this level. I did run into Brittany once at a Target in March. She was with some new guy, holding hands in the household goods aisle. The dude was wearing a Rolex and driving what looked like a BMW based on the keys in his hand. She saw me, went pale, and immediately steered him the other direction. Didn't bother me at all. Actually felt bad for him if I'm honest. Wondered how long before she started the same routine. The friend group drama apparently continued without me. Madison told me through occasional texts that Brittany had effectively been iced out after the truth came out. Ashley felt betrayed, because Brittany had apparently borrowed money from her too, with similar sob stories. Kayla was mad because the birthday dinner became this whole dramatic thing. Then in April, Madison texted me asking if I wanted to grab coffee. Said she felt terrible about how everything went down and wanted to apologize properly. We met up at a place near my work. She brought me a $50 gift card to my favorite coffee shop and said, "This doesn't make up for anything, but I should have said something at that dinner when Brittany started talking. I knew she was staying at your place. I knew you were helping her out. It wasn't right. I appreciated that. Told her no hard feelings. She wasn't the one who lied to my face for 8 months. Then she dropped a bomb. Brittany's been telling people you fabricated evidence for the court case, that you photoshopped bank statements and made up texts. She's claiming you're obsessed with her and won't leave her alone." I pulled up my phone and showed Madison the court judgment. Judge saw the original documents. Everything was verified. She can tell people whatever she wants, but the court didn't agree with her version. Madison nodded. I figured. I just thought you should know what she's saying. A week later, Brittany's new boyfriend, the Rolex guy, sent me a Facebook message. "Hey man, Brittany told me about your situation. I don't appreciate you harassing her. You need to move on." I screenshot the message and replied with a photo of the court judgment. Not harassing anyone. She owes me $12,500 per court order and is on a payment plan. If she's told you a different story, that's between you two. I haven't contacted her once since the trial. He read it. Never responded. But 2 weeks later, Madison texted me that Brittany and Rolex guy had broken up. Apparently he'd asked to see her phone and bank statements after my message. She'd refused. He'd walked. In May, my company had our annual awards dinner. I won Coordinator of the Year for the second time, which came with a $5,000 bonus and a plaque. My boss gave a whole speech about the contract I'd landed and how my attention to detail saved the company millions. Got home that night, put the plaque on my shelf next to the court judgment document I'd framed as a joke. Gunner knocked it over with his tail within 5 minutes. Seemed fitting. June was when things got interesting. Brittany missed her payment for the first time. It was 3 days late, then a week late. I sent one email through the court system, reminding her of the payment schedule. No response. 2 weeks later, still no payment. I filed a motion with the court for enforcement. Cost me $75, but I wasn't about to let her think she could just stop paying. Court sent her a notice. Payment showed up the next day with an extra $50 penalty the judge had added for late payment. Never missed another one after that. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.